Hi, everybody, and welcome to this first community live session. I really appreciate that all of you have joined this session. It's going to be great. I'm the training manager of ClickLearn, and I've been with ClickLearn since 2016, doing demos, training sessions, and it's my pleasure to take you through this session here today. I'm also very happy to have my great colleague Morten with me here today. If you don't already know Morten, he is a very skilled senior supporter and probably the sweetest supporter ever. Morten, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello. Hi, guys, and thank you, Lars, for that introduction. My name is Morten. I work with the ClickLearn support team, and I've been with ClickLearn for 3 years. So yeah, we have a nice program for you today. Take it away, Lars.
Thanks, Morten. And today we will be going through the process of migrating from ClickLearn Attain or ClickLearn Classic into ClickLearn Attain. And the purpose of this is to clarify this process for you, so you know exactly what to do when you choose to migrate. We just got introduced, and the next subject for today is getting a brief overview of the tasks that need to be completed during this process. Morten and I will show you what this looks like and feels like in the system, and also what you need to consider during this process. At this point, you might be asking yourself, so how do we get started? And of course, you will also know this after that this session here. At the end, we will also have some information on what's next for you. To give you a brief overview, we have listed the tasks that you need to go through during the migration process. Working with ClickLearn Attain is in some areas very different from what you know from ClickLearn Classic, and it comes with some really great features. First of all, you need to create a project in Attain. The project will be the framework for everything and everyone in the project. Then you'll need to set up your team. You probably already know who this is, but here you add everybody to the project so everybody is able to collaborate within the project. It's really a huge benefit in terms of collaborating around the project. Adding assets to your project ensures that you have external assets saved in your project and available to all the project members at all times. Morten will also take us through the simplicity of creating the template with Attain, which no longer is any kind of programming skills that are needed or anything like that. It's basically anybody can create a template. Books and shelves are no longer there, they are gone. And this means that now you can create a free structure with all the different levels and not limiting a learning portal with just the 3 structures that you know from ClickLearn Classic. The produce and publish is now all going on in the cloud. So, and we'll of course show you how this works as well. While you are preparing a new learning portal with Attain, you will have the ability to get everything ready while you still can have your end users access, train, and you can change, produce, publish in the Classic version. So everything is still there for Classic. Once you are ready to convert to your Attain version, then you can simply just release that version. So let's have a look at how all of this works. So the first thing I want to show you here is how to create a new project. I'm gonna start this process here. It's gonna be a content project. I can choose which type of author am I, or I'm a contributor or project lead that needs to start this project. What's my experience with the ClickLearn, and so on. There's a lot of choices here. I'm gonna show some of them. One of the great features here, as I mentioned earlier, is the collaboration features. And for that to be working, I need to add somebody to my team as well. So here I can add from my authors list. And of course, for today here, why not just add Morten into my project? So I would like to be collaborating with Morten. I'm going to add him here in my list. I could also invite external users to my project. So if I have subject matter experts, maybe external consultants I need to add, I can add them as well. So Normally, when you start up a recording in ClickLearn Classic, you would need to, each and every time you create a recording, you would select which connector am I going to be recording in. This is done once and for all in ClickLearn Attain for the project, so I can simply just select multiple connectors that I'm going to be working with here, and I can select which one is going to be the primary one. That's maybe going to be my Business Central one here. I'm going to add that, and then click Next. Here I can choose whatever versions I'm going to be working with. This is just project information, so you just need to do this once, and of course you can always go back in there and change this. ClickLearn is a cloud-first solution, so I'm going to stick to having my deployment done in my content cloud. Of course, you can still deploy in all the other ways that you have been used to, and Morten is going to tell us a little bit more about that later. So I'm just going to stick to this. And by the way, once you start up your publishing process, then you will actually be taken back to this point, and here you can decide exactly what to do. Languages, easily added over here. Just add a new language. Let's say I want to add German. I'm going to add that in here. It's per default, it's going to be added both for the language and for UI language. Let's say I only have the UI language available for the English language, then I'm just going to select that and stick to that instead. So here you can add all the languages you need for your project. Right now, we just have the classic template, so that's basically what I'm going to be loading in here. But of course, we can have multiple templates here, and you can, as it says here, import templates from already existing projects. So if you have multiple projects you want to be working with in ClickLearn Attain, you can actually be using the same template for all those projects. And Morten is going to show us a little bit later here how the project is going to be set up. I need to give my project a name, so let me do that. Let's give it another name here. There we go. I could give it a description as well. Let's create that project. Once I have my project created, I can start creating new recordings. But of course, in your case, you might just want to be loading in your recordings that you already have created in your ClickLearn Classic learning portal. So here I'm just going to go into my project. And of course, this one is going to be empty in here. There we go. So up here in the dropdown, I can start a new recording. I can create new folders. So I can also place my recordings into different folders in there, and I can import my recordings. In my case, I have my CLRX files in my OneDrive. So I'm going to go into the OneDrive and see, okay, here I have my ClickLearn Classic recordings. I'm going to mark all of them, and I want to open them into my newly created project. Here you see now I have my newly created or imported recordings from my old classic version. I have them added in here, and why not, let's just go into the editor and have a look at what the editor looks like. It's pretty much the same as you're used to, but there's a little bit, some changes in there, and actually also some very nice features. So, but it's not going to look very new and strange to you. You will easily be able to look into how this works. So over here, you can see I still have my source file, and the rest of the screen, you have the preview, and then the change. Here is no longer the drop down with the roles, so you will have them over here: written editor, video editor, assist editor, flow editor, and data editor. So more or less the same roles as you already know from your ClickLearn Classic. One of the nice features here is if I right-click on one of my recordings and choose to add more steps to my process, it could also be that I've copied them from another recording. I can easily add either before or after, so I don't need to pay attention to where I am, and always everything's going to be added just before the step I'm marking, stuff like that. That's no longer an issue here. I can just start the record by clicking on New Step here. Let's go into the editing of the specific step here, and here you will also notice that now you can actually create bold, italic, underlined text, and even do bulleted lists in here as well. So that's also new features. And if I look further down here in the image editor, you will also see now I can actually blur to redact sensitive data. So here I'm gonna blur the data like this. And of course I can blur also outside what I'm marking here. So in this way, I'm sure that I'm not gonna have this seen in the video or anything like that. So I'm redacting all the data from that part. And of course I can create multiple areas in there where I can redact the data. Okay, so I showed you how to set up the team, and Morten, could you tell us a little bit more about the collaboration features, how they work?
You bet, Lars. So as you saw when setting up the project from scratch, you could select and invite existing team members. You can still do it here in the team tab. You can choose to add different people up here, invite user, manage the roles. You can also invite multiple users just with a comma, which is quite nice if you have like if you steal their email address from Outlook or whatever. And of course, you can choose the roles here as well. Also, you can see when the last activity was. So if someone is idle on a project, you can identify that in here. Or if you want to just check out, like, hey, did someone do something new? Let's see the dates. You can do that here. So furthermore, this is one of the most requested features that I've had in the mailbox, really, in the support for a long time, and that is how do we collaborate? So basically here you can see on this recording that I've chosen, you can see who has access to it, and you can see who last modified it and all this kind of stuff. And also you can see, if you go into the recording itself, there is a conversation where you can kind of comment out what's going on. So let's bring up the chat here. And you can see that this user here is asking to fix a missing asset, and the other user down here will say, oh, I'll fix it ASAP. So you can kind of have a conversation about things that are missing or what we need to record. He says he needs a thumbnail somewhere, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Without being in the same room, you can still collaborate on the content. Furthermore, there is a tasking system, which is over here. You can pop that out. In the task system, you can track the different tasks of the project, who's responsible for that specific task. And of course, yeah, there's priorities and stuff like that. So let's have a look at one of these tasks. Someone is asking to translate to French, and let's have a look at the task itself. You can see here that this is regarding these 3 recordings. So these 3 recordings need to be translated to French. And yeah, that's how you can sort of track your tasks. You can of course also flag them as complete, as you can see here. And in your feed down here, you will also see that things has been marked as complete. For example, here M&S has marked this translation as complete. So you can track the tasks here. They have their own icon. But yeah, that's pretty much how the collaboration features work in ClickLearn Attain. So yeah, back to you, Lars.
Thank you, Morten. That's really great. So another great feature, and you actually just mentioned it very slightly, the assets. So the assets that we have in here can be added to the project as well. So all assets, any images, Excel sheets, stuff like that that you need to have added into your project will be available within the project. And that's maybe you remember when you were creating a note in ClickLearn Classic, you would need to add an external image in there, and you need to make sure that this path for the image also would be in the correct area. And if you need to produce publish, you would need to move that asset to the specific folder where you're going to be producing and publishing. That's no longer necessary. We'll have everything in the project. So when you choose an image for a recording, then it's just going to be there. Let me show you how that is added. So here I have my assets directory, and if I want to create a new folder, maybe I want to upload a new folder, I actually have a folder on my OneDrive as well, where I have assets for my session here today. So click on OK. I can choose where I want to have them saved in my folder structure in there, and once I've done that, then I will actually have my assets available in here. So let's just have a look at this. Here you can see all my assets, and I'd added some PDFs as well. Maybe I need some instructions in here. There's a flow chart, a couple of flow charts actually in here as images and stuff like that. There's a logo in there, so if I want to add that into my template, I can easily do that as well. That's how the assets work. And talking about templates, Morten, how's that going to be working?
Right, Lars, let me show you. So in your settings of your projects, you can pop down to project template. So in the publishing template, you have your choice of different templates. You can have multiple templates in one project. And you choose your template here, then you select which entity you want to change. So let's say I want to change our portal. That's like the main view here. I want to add a logo, yeah? So I'll go to Add Entity, and let's go ahead and add a logo. Click on Add Image. So I can add it from my computer, or I can add it from the assets, yeah? So let's go ahead and add it from my computer. And I want to put it in my Common Assets folder. And then we should have a logo momentarily. Let me go ahead and save those changes. There we go. So now the logo is changed. So it's the same thing if you go to like, let's say you go to the Word document and you have a Word template, you can add it down here. So we say custom template, and then you want to add one. I already added it here, but you can add them down here. Same thing for the PowerPoint. And briefly, a lot of the option you used to write in code before, you can actually do it. You can actually do it right here. So let's say you go to the Show Me video. Here you can have different video controls. So you can say, I don't want the controls to be visible, or I want the mode to be auto fit with no scaling, for example. And you have your playback options down here, where the different transition types are, and everything like that. You can even have the red triangle, so the hotspot, the action triangle, you can have that on the Show Me video now, just by clicking up a button. It's that easy. And of course, your pauses after each step, that's also a highly requested feature. We've added that too. So you can have like a global pause based on the template, right? So you apply a template to specific sets of your recordings, and then, yeah, all those will have a global pause added. Another cool thing about the template is that you can apply the template in your structure. When you create your structure, you can apply the template to individual items. So different sections of your structure can have different templates. So your whole portal can look different depending on which book you go into. So yeah, it's quite powerful now in Attain, and it's very easy to use. So back to you, Lars.
Oh, Morten, that really looks great. It even looks like something that I maybe am able to do. So, but one of the other features I want to show you here is also how you create the structure. And this is replacing the old books and shelves and so on. And it's a very easy build. So what you're looking at here is basically what you can compare to the earlier shelf. And I can just take any section that I want, or any elements or components that I have over here, I can add them just by dragging and dropping into the structure. So let me just give this another title here. So I will just call this one sales, and I want to add another, or put another icon in there, and I can either upload this from my folder, or I can go into the gallery and see, do I have anything that I want to use in there? And actually I do have that one down here. I'm going to apply that. And then here I can choose the color of that icon as well, and so on. Just going to go back here. And here I would be able to drag and drop any of my recordings into that structure as well. So it is very easy to create this build in here. Let me just show one of the new nice features in here as well. So if I add another section, so let's say this section was for the HR department. Often we see that there are sensitive processes that we need to hide away from all users maybe. And in ClickLearn Attain, you can also create segmentation as well. So in the advanced features, I can actually add my own segment in here. So I can call it exactly what I need it to be. So create new segment, and I want this to be only for HR. Gonna add that. Just gonna select it for this specific section that I've added. There we go. And you can see it's been added over here, only for this part. So this means when I go and produce this, I'm gonna have two different URLs. I'm gonna have one URL for which was going to be for everybody without the HR part in there. And then I'm going to have another URL with everything in there also containing the HR. And that's, of course, the one I want to share with my HR department, which will be able to have access to all the different processes described in there. Let me just add another recording for the HR part as well. Also, once I'm done building up this, or if I want to somewhere along the road as well to see, okay, how is this actually going to be, how's this going to be looking, I can go here and click on preview, and I'll easily have a preview quickly produced for me here, so I can easily go in here and see exactly what I'm going to create. Okay, so once I'm ready with my structure, I'm actually ready to go and produce and publish this. So Morten, how's that going to be working?
Right. Thank you for showing that, Lars. I really love the structure. That's probably my favorite thing about Attain. It's so cool to organize it like that. When you deploy your content, you can choose a few different methods. So by default, we select the ClickLearn Content Cloud. This is probably the most easy and most used way to distribute your content. It's just a cloud web service where you can we can host your content and you can then distribute the links to whoever is going to be consuming that. Furthermore, you can segment the access to that content through all kinds of login authenticators now. So like LinkedIn or Facebook, or you can use Office 365, and whatever you choose, you can segment that. Furthermore, you can of course choose SharePoint if you want to deploy it to your own SharePoint. And for CRM projects and Business Central project, you can deploy an Inside Help project for those systems. Coming later will be a fully fledged learning portal and ability to deploy inside Microsoft Teams. That's also something we've been requested. And of course, as always, you will be able to just host it on your own local web server or another sort of service if you like, just a normal file share. It's basically just a web structure you download, and then you can then explore and browse. But yeah, that's pretty much the distribution method you have for deployment. So Lars, let's see what you've created.
And actually, I'm just in the process of producing the content right now. And as you see, now everything has been produced. Actually, this is also a huge difference. While I'm producing the content, is of course producing this in the cloud, so I can easily do some other work while ClickLearn is producing. I don't need to sit there and wait and wait and wait. So everything has been produced now, and I just need to publish it. And as everything has been published in the cloud, I simply just click publish, and then with a very short time, within a very short time, I'm going to have the links to the content that I've just published because it's already up there. I just need the link. So here you can see I have one link for the full company and another link where it's added a segment of only HR. And that means that this is what I want to share with my HR department. So let's have a look at the content here. So I'm just going to copy that. And then I actually have started up a incognito browser. So let's just switch to that one over here and paste in the link. There we go. Let's have a look at the result I just created. And as you see here, this is the one for the HR department. So they have access to all different content, both in sales and also in the HR department. And as you might notice, this more or less looks like what you're used to from ClickLearn. I have everything added in here. So back into the production here. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you might be asking yourself at this point, so how do we actually get started? And that will take me on to the next points for today. And First of all, we need to wait for the future, the feature release, which will be here, or the last feature release that will be here the 5th of July. Then ClickLearn Attain is ready for you. Just let us know that you want to migrate, and we'll set up everything, all the information that you need to get ClickLearn installed and so on. Once you have ClickLearn installed, you might need to join one of our training sessions that will get you up and running with ClickLearn Attain. And as always, this is part of your maintenance agreements, so this will be without any costs. When you are ready to start the migration process, as you've just shown you here today, you just start that up, and remember, we are always there to help you. This session will be available on the community for any of your colleagues to see, and next time on Community Live, we will focus on what's new from the July release. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notifications, and for the next Community Live session. The community, or in the community, you can also come up with the suggestions for future topics. And it's been a pleasure being here today, and also having you here, Morten, today. Thank you for all the great inputs that you had there. And for everybody out there, thank you very much for attending, and see you next time on Community Live.